And I was really kind of looking for something to go to with like-minded people.
Needed a break to get out of London, come down, get refreshed, come to the countryside and connect with people, basically.
Campout started with the first Campfire convention in 2016 in the Black Mountains of Wales, and this is the 5th iteration. So it was an absolute pleasure to work with Dan and have the Elevate Day last year, and we decided to jump in and do a complete co-creation this year.
Feeling very safe and very secure in this environment. There's a lot of people that have the same or similar views, which I struggle with when I'm not here.
As well as a lot of politics around punk, which was throwing the old order up in the air, so I was very aware of that sense of rebellion.
Is it a bit of a movement
that we're creating?
Yeah.
I have to be cautious about describing it as a movement, and I'd rather throw that out to the people who come along. We've playfully come up with the idea of a trailblazers movement about changing the way we do politics and life together, and politics in its widest sense. So there is a hope that some sparks may come from that.
You know, you put together different worlds for me, you know, and that's I think that's a big part of what this is about. It's like, you know, you see this convergence of ideas and fields of practice, you know.
These for Richard Burrows.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my first Campout, although not first camping, of course. So I'm rather humbled that every time I am asked to talk anywhere, that anybody actually wants to see me, because when I'm at home and I do my little videos, oh, by the way, I have a YouTube channel. It's a video platform thing that you can stick videos up unless you're a bit controversial. Of course, I do tend to be sometimes, well, I try not to be controversial actually, but there's these very weird and wacky terms and conditions that YouTube have, and they don't make it very obvious what you can say or what you can't say. And in fact, I've had a violation and a strike.
Tell me about how you got invited along to this today.
I met Dan at the Better Way conference earlier in April, it was, and he did an interview with me, and then soon after that he said, would you like to come and do a talk for the Campout 2023? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. So here I am in the back of that, really.
And how have you found it?
Brilliant, very receptive audience, very lovely audience.
We're not ordinary, we're extraordinary. We are very lucky to be alive at this particular time. I do feel that we're here for a reason, and we're going to make this place a better world. And in some weird, ironic way, we've needed this kick up the old bum, and we're going to do amazing things.
Just give me a taste of the sort of things that you put on. Were they initially planned, or has there been some sort of organic development?
I think there's been a combination of both, and perhaps some reflection, a little bit overly planned in some ways.
I mean, it still feels a little bit like festival, performer, crew. We want to dissolve all of that a little bit tomorrow. So join us in this morning circle. You'll get to find out what's going on and meet our team.
I hope you are too. Hands up, who's here, who wasn't here yesterday? What we'd like to invite you to do first is go into groups of 3 or 4 and talk to each other about your experience yesterday.
Because Campout in its origins, from Pete's founding principles of the event, was to actually create a space where people can bring their own experience and bring their own gifts. And we've had that this year in different ways. There's been lots of spontaneous activity that we may have not even seen or heard about yet. I've seen so many different unique things emerging. But we did have a very busy program. In fact, there was 3 stages: the Vortex, where we're sat now, main hub, and the Woodland stage, and the Wellbeing Village, and there was always something going on, but we tried to curate it in a way so that there was something different happening all the time. It's kind of like a buffet of ideas that you can or experiences that you can go within. And again, it's really under those themes of personal transformation or social change or healing or well-being. There was a real richness to it, I think.
I mean, obviously I've been here for a few days. There's been lots of emotions, lots of tears, lots of laughter, lots of everything, I suppose, lots of dance. Is that what you've tried to do, sort of let people just express themselves more freely?
That's certainly one of our core principles, is creative expression in all its forms.
My cattle and my dear ones, he blessed me. He blessed me and my house. Goes the Christ in a stranger's guise, goes the Christ in a stranger's guise. Goes the Christ in a stranger's guise, goes the Christ in a stranger's guise. And again, goes the Christ in a stranger's guise, goes the Christ in a stranger's guise.
I think creativity has certainly been a big part of this, but also individual expression, shared expression, whether that's dancing, singing, speaking.
We're coming together on those common grounds of empowerment and adding value and improving the situation of where we are.
The shopaholic culture gets brought down, and as we live from the inside, we finally find ourselves in a more sated relationship with ourselves, and therefore others, and therefore our environment.
But thinking about where did my spark come from? So I distinctly remember being about 7 years old and thinking, I want to be the first female Prime Minister. And then my mum very unkindly told me that Margaret Thatcher had already done it. And I pouted for quite some time. I was very upset that that wasn't going to be me.
So many people in the moments where we've had our closing circles have shared that they've found their voice, they've found the courage to speak up and to speak their mind or to share what's coming up for them.
You weren't there in a connection field, and from that space of emptiness, that's where we're vulnerable.
Retrieving something that's been abandoned, reconnecting, absolutely.
And people taking responsibility for themselves.
Indeed, and thank you.
Relief to not have to do small talk with these people.
But the bigger conversation need the nuances, need the time. And here, especially over a weekend, you get time to, give a talk, speak to people, share ideas, and we've all got value to offer each other.
And this wonderful container in nature has given people, amongst that container and also the framework and the principles that we've put together for the event, the opportunity for that to arise. And everyone would have had their own unique experience, but it's been really, really marvellous to see how many people have had that growth. So that to me is where the empowerment comes.
For me, it seems very relaxed.
Oh yeah, very much so. You can talk about anything you want to. People will listen to you, and I came here to try and learn about some of the issues around, and I get a broader base on things. So it's been very helpful in that respect. It has, yeah.
A lot of the people here, I'm guessing, have done a lot of work, so we will have some of the answers. But a lot of the time, if you go to a deeper level, you'll find it very enriching. So here is Bella. Bella considers herself aware. She questions the numerous narratives pushed onto her. She reads a lot and she likes to research. She's open-minded. She ponders why she does what she does. She challenges authority when it steps out of line. A lot of us can relate to Bella, yeah? And you'll see these type of studies run time and time and time again. It's called priming. And we are so disconnected from thinking that our environment will have any effect over our decisions and our thinking. And that is one of the biggest problems.
We've broken down a little bit, and communication is difficult between us, especially what we've found in the last 3 years. How we managed to communicate and still stay relatively.
In healthcare, what are the problems? If we can't properly identify the problem, we can't actually provide a solution. So measure functional parameters in the physical. They are an expression of multi-system health. We have the primary system driving everything is the biofield, is the energetic field. That is the matrix that holds life together.
The mixture of the flow of ideas and discussions and embodied practices and well-being, I think that balance has always been important for where we want to go with this, and having that celebratory aspect in the evening with the music and the relaxation side. Hopefully we've got the right balance of all those things together.
So what brought you to Campout then?
We're mixing with beautifully heart-centered other beings, and that what really attracts me is to meet my family, my tribe, and have those deep and wonderful connections on a deep level rather than just surface, you know.
And it just sounded absolutely fantastic.
Is this the first time you've been along then?
Yeah.
I literally found out about it last weekend at Jam for Freedom, and I was like, that sounds like a great place to be. And actually I was talking to Peter Conway at the end of Jam for Freedom and some ideas that I've got about helping to create a new community, and he said this would be the perfect place to come and discuss those ideas and develop them, and here I am.
And Lily's been making Campout bracelets, and just here to enjoy the experience.
And how are you finding the event so far then?
It's wonderful. I think it's very cool. I haven't given myself enough time to explore because I've been running sessions all the time, but hopefully before it ends I'll be able to see what the other people are up to.
It resonated with certain things that I was going through in my life, and on Tuesday my partner and I decided that we were going to go somewhere with more positive people, an environment that was supportive, and a time where we could just chill, relax.
I wasn't brave enough to come last year. I knew about it last year, but I'm on a bit of a journey, and I followed Dan for 3 years, and I saw this, and it just said I was going to come on my own, even if I couldn't get anybody to come.
And I wanted to be more involved in it this year, because last year I came on the last day, played, met some very cool people, but then I went at the end of the night, and I wanted to immerse myself and take part in what was being cultivated here.
Participants. It's not just for the participants.
Sorry, John's got a saw on the bread.
Yeah. Oh, nice one. That brings me to my next point. Building community and co-creating. Whilst everyone else has sat down. So that's what's going to happen when we go back to the wider world, because everyone else will be sat down paying attention to the TV and doing nothing. But you guys will come here and you've bust the gut and you've learned that the capacity line that you thought was your capacity line is actually way over here, which is a lesson you can take home and go, actually, I have a lot more power that I never thought I had.
We brought Elevate, an Elevate Day, an Elevate experience to Campout 2022, which intersected with the overall aims of Campout itself, which is exploring the personal journey in how we can find our own path in life and how we can make a difference in the world, with a connection to the kind of issues we're seeing in the world and how those two things intersect and merge. So we put together a program of discussions and experiences last year, and that's expanded into this year's co-creation.
However, they are a government. They govern, they tell, they dictate. And we have no mechanisms to hold them to account. There is no transparency. There is no mechanisms to hold them to account. They give out their manifesto every 5 years. We have our vote, which, as I say, is tokenistic.
Any call and response from our panellists, or anything to add? Or yes.
Yeah, like I said, it can seem like a Christmas wish list and what we're proposing, but I would say that the first kind of, as I said, the first step towards change is to envisage and imagine a better future. And the thing is, there are intermediate steps that are required, which means accepting our predicament. And it also means, you know, it's one thing to say, well, Parliament shouldn't have the power it has over our lives. It's another thing to pretend that it doesn't have power over our lives. We can't pretend it doesn't. It does have power. We do pay taxes and so on. But there are intermediate steps to do with cultivating a sense of identity in groups and a self-understanding of our dignity.
Such a beautiful, intimate gathering with you know, not so many people, so you get to know everyone as well. So, and it's something I came here and to share what I love to share.
Because the guy that's up next is looking for a whiteboard, and Para doesn't seem like she's found one.
Can we have a play? It's only A3, but we can hang it over here.
Okay, might we try that?
How's it going, guys?
Great.
It's going well. We're working on the logistics.
Yeah, we have a cunning plan.
Yes, always troubleshooting.
So, I saw an advert on Facebook, and it was a sudden act of inspiration, to be honest. I didn't know what to expect. I've heard of Dan before, seen a bit of his stuff. I didn't really know what this was. I came here with no expectations, really, just an open mind to, try a few different things, meet some different people.
Great things about the Common Law Constitution is that you don't have to reinvent it. What it does is it teaches you what are the central principles of a community and how it can self-govern. It's already there. It's just that they've tried to hide how it's meant to operate. Okay, that's the key. So again, just exactly what these guys are saying. Don't throw away things necessarily. It may well be that the system, in many regards, is actually functioning better than you think. But it's the foundational principles that are not understood fundamentally by those in the system.
So would it be fair to say it was sort of, it's just giving people a voice and a bit of empowerment, really, and to discuss whatever they want to discuss?
It's totally about that. And we had a whole day of open space at the last Campout. We weren't quite able to find that level of engagement to offer to people this year. But the real magic often comes out through the gaps that are created. I just had this idea, actually, to scale off the programming day by day. So that people can step into that space and really feel empowered, because I've heard from quite a few people when they've arrived, they felt a little bit unsure, they don't know what to expect, and it takes them a day or two to fully be present at the event. And to offer that on the last day, an open space, can be really rich in its potential for people feeling their sense of purpose and being the best versions of themselves.
I was collapsing inwards and just sat there on the bell when Sarah led meditation yesterday, and my mind was going, oh my God, this is just so... She had a beautiful voice, but by the end of it I was still wiped out, but then all of a sudden I could connect with people.
See from people that I've seen, and the sharing everybody's done, and the honesty and the sense of community has been phenomenal, and you couldn't have done a better job, so I just wanted to say thanks. That's it.
And the birds come and land in your leaves, and the insects, and maybe some children come and climb on your branches. And someone comes and sits at the trunk of you.
We all have to be able to recognise that we're all different and separate, and we are unique own beings, and we're all individuals. So we need to be able to make a network of light around the world without sort of becoming one light bulb, shall we say.
Where did the 60s really begin? You go back a couple of decades and you can actually see the roots of it in the 1930s, 40s, 50s and 60s. Preceding it, and Robin and I have compared notes. We've tried to figure out what point in the journey we're on, because when you look at the parallels, they're exceptionally similar.
Your question around the movement, I think there are a lot of people here who have a shared sense of dissatisfaction with the status quo, but I think our philosophy is how do we how do we pioneer or trailblaze ourselves, but actually encourage others to be the change they want to see, to paraphrase a very popularized phrase, and scatter the seeds so that people can go and do their own thing in their own communities. And when that happens concurrently, you could say it's a form of new culture emerging in response to the old, in a way.
What would you take from this weekend?
Everything. It's been amazing.
There's a lot we have in common, and I think people are just pushing for that change.
Particularly inspired by the variety of people and their skills, their personal interests, their life stories.
The positivity and the will to succeed.
Real diversity of ages, perspectives. That's what I've loved.
An ability of everybody to see things differently, really.
Just feel the knowledge and strength that people are coming from and sharing.
Connection, love, family, just the sense of community coming together with a shared purpose and a shared mission.
Everyone's so positive and like-minded and open and caring. It's been an amazing experience.
Community, a sense of well-being.
Can't praise it enough. I haven't got the words. It's just been
And a real safe space to just be yourself and express yourself.
Empowering others to realise their full potential and unlock that in them.
Serenity, peace, transformation this morning, honesty, genuinely.
Speak easy and freely with each other. It's very, very helpful.
And I feel like this is how we should be living. It's so uplifting and everyone's looking out for each other, and you can just leave your stuff anywhere and it's not going to get stolen, you know? Where else can you do that?
Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh. I find my joy in the simple things that are all we earn. I find my joy in the sun that shines and the water that speaks to me.
We can build a ship to sail the seven seas. We can send a rocket ship into space. We can build a bridge to heal humanity. Yeah, we can take a minute to fix this human race. We keep going round and round in circles. This generation, it has had enough. Yes, it's plain to see this modern world needs more love. Politics these days is all just a game, and the people are the ones always being played. It doesn't matter who's in power now anyway. That change, the people are losing this game. We keep going round and round in circles. This generation, it has had enough. Yes, it's plain to see this modern world needs more love.